is the fellow who helped Randy expose Peter Popoff, the televangelist, the faith healer, who really raked in a whole lot of money in the 80s, doing his...
And is back at it again.
Making more than ever before. This is kind of the depressing one. Essentially what Peter Popoff did was he was this guy wwho, did the kind of the whole Benny Hinn routine. He didn't bring them up on stage. He would go out in the crowd. He'd go into the crowd and find folks and goes, where's Louise, from, West Virginia? And people would be like, ooh, he knows all this stuff about me. Well, he's got a bud in his ear, and he's getting transmissions from his wife, who's behind stage, because before his little evangelical rally, his faith healing performance, they would fill out cards. The attendees would fill out cards, and then his wife, Peter Popoff's wife, will go out into the crowds and just socialize with folks. Hi, where are you from? So what's wrong? And just get to and the conversations that she was having before the rally with those people were being transmitted to folks behind the stage who were writing this information down.
Right.
And so he's getting, and so what Randy and his team did was they got in and with this sort of surveillance equipment, pegged the frequency and recorded it. And then Randy went on Johnny Carson, who was a fantastic supporter of skepticism. And you're not going to see his like on commercial television ever again, I don't think, in terms of supporting that kind of thing. And what's depressing, though, is that, it took the wind out of Peter Popoff's sails for a little while, and then he kind of came back. And whereas in the 80s, at the time he was exposed, he was racking in something like $11–12 million a year. Now he's up to $24 million a year and doing the same crap. So people just don't learn. It's this really sick and depressing exploitation of hope and insecurity and sadness that these religious vultures prey upon. That is, it just kind of makes you just kind of go, wow.
The thing is that if nobody else were doing this, and you expose Peter Popoff, despite the fact that the people tend to have short memory, I don't think he could have built back up again. The reason he's been able to rebuild his ministry and come back stronger than ever is because what he's doing is playing on things that people already believe and other people are doing. So religion has within it already pre-built in this mechanism of forgiveness, for one thing. Which is, I can't count the number of televangelists we've seen, getting caught, busted with, hookers and drug dealers and whatever, and then come on and, turn on the waterworks like crazy. Then they disappear for a little while, and then they work their way back, and God has healed me from the former asshat that I used to be, and now I'm a true man of God, which means I need even more of your money. God has forgiven me. God, in this case, his ministry may not be doing quite as well. I think we'd have to adjust the dollars.
No, they showed his taxes for last year.
No, but I mean $11 million in 80 versus.
Oh well, I mean, if you count for inflation and what have you, but still, $24 million is more than. Right?
It's more than I make.
It's more than he should.
It's more than everybody in this building makes together.
Well, it's $24 million more than he should be making.
Yes.
I mean, he should be, working. But I mean, it's selling insurance somewhere.
It's one of the problems. One of the reasons why we do this. Not just to. It's not like I'm out to steal away hope from people or take away their religious belief. Would I prefer that people relinquished superstition and religious beliefs in favor of a reality-based worldview? You betcha. And I'll do everything I can to encourage that.
Because people say that a lot to skeptics. They're like, well, why do you want to take away people's hope?
And
it's like, think about what you're saying for a minute. What sort of hope is false hope? What sort of hope is just a bunch of lies, comforting lies that have been built on? Because all that happens is, the more of that you build up, then when reality really hits you, the fall is that much harder. Now, and I've talked to other, atheist friends of mine, and they don't necessarily agree that that's strictly the case, and I see they have a point. I mean, if you look at something like religious beliefs or superstitions as, say, a big house of toothpicks, and reality is this thing that comes along and just keeps poking holes in the house of toothpicks. Well, what the usual believer does is just pile on more toothpicks. Ultimately, though, I think for a lot of people you run out of toothpicks. And the choice then is either, well, you just have this house of toothpicks full of holes and that you're clinging to, for some reason, or I don't want to strain this metaphor beyond the breaking point, but I think that it's just...
I wish I had a toothpick.
Weird that... That was just so
would've been
completely random a statement.
I like turtles.
All right. So the contest for this episode is write your own folk song saying, I wish I had a toothpick from Matt. And next week on the show, we'll play it. To sort of boost your morale as a skeptic, to make you really want to get out there and tell folks, look, this is why it's important.
Well, one of the questions that we get a lot is why would you guys do that? I mean, why would you have an atheist group? Because they're thinking in the mindset that this is kind of like church. On some level, it may be, because really we're all social creatures, and some of us appreciate company more than others, but being around people who you genuinely like, who you want to share ideas with, have conversations with, share experiences with, have a dinner with, go out on the lake.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, in that sense, if that's all church is to you, cool, keep on going. And in that case, yeah, welcome to the first atheist church of Austin. But if you're talking about it as a raw substitute for Sunday morning worship, it's a substitute with no worship at all of anything.